Hi, everyone. I'm Eric Bowling. Welcome to Cashin In. Our Cashin In crew this week: Jonathan Honig, Michelle Fields, Juan Williams, and Katie Pavlich. Wayne Rogers is off today. Welcome, everybody. Remember the surfer dude who was dining on lobster and sushi with your money from food stamps? Well, now he's saying don't blame him, blame Uncle Sam. Take a listen to his reply when asked if he's taking advantage of the system.
Do I have to apologize for the way the system's set up? I don't feel I need to apologize for it. It's just the way you're wording it kind of seems like I'm getting kind of like the ruler on the ruler on the hand.
Well, maybe he needs the ruler on the hand. But, Michelle, is he right? Is the system set up for this kind of waste, fraud, and abuse?
Yeah, you know, what he's doing to taxpayers is wrong, but we shouldn't be vilifying him. We should be vilifying the system. He thinks what he's doing is right because the government has now made living off welfare a lifestyle choice. And let's be honest, Surfer Dude is Nancy Pelosi's ideal model citizen. He doesn't have to suffer from job lock. He gets to chill on the beach, trying to become a musician. He eats healthy, which, of course, Michelle Obama would approve of, and it's all paid for by taxpayer dollars. It's crazy.
Right, exactly, Michelle. And, John, we've gone from somewhere around... we've had a 68% increase in the number of Americans on food stamps from 2008 to 2013, and you got to think, a lot of those people are playing the system like this.
Indeed, Eric. I mean, entitlements create the entitlement mentality. They create the parasitism. I mean, I think Surfer Dude is really a victim in all of this. It creates the parasitism that he is suffering from. The answer isn't to rein in the entitlements or get the waste, fraud, and abuse out of entitlements, but to eliminate the entitlements. And it comes back to this fundamental of who owns your life. Not Surfer Dude, not the public, not the government. And in a free society, you get to decide who is deserving of your money. And you know what? There's no right to consume other people's life. If you want to help someone in need, people are very charitable. Surfer Dude is not in need, and he should be not getting a dime of the taxpayers' dough.
Juan, is it okay with you that Surfer Dude is buying lobster and sushi with his EBT card?
Yeah, you can, as long as the food meets the requirements. Look, he's obeying the law. But the problem with this whole conversation is that he's not representative of people on food stamps. That guy is an extreme example of someone who is playing the system. It is legal. What he's doing is within the law. But he's playing the system because he looks to me to be a healthy, capable guy. And I agree with others who say, you know what, why is that guy not working? If he wants to learn how to play music, do it in his free time. But I must say, you are making it out as if this guy represents the reason for the increase in food stamps in the country. This country's been through a terrible recession, and there are a lot of legitimately needy people who are being helped.
Let's be fair. There's no question there are a lot of people who need help, and that's what the SNAP program, the Supplemental Nutrition Assistance Program, is for. But, Katie, let's talk about this. Look at the numbers. In 2008, we spent around $39 billion on food stamps or nutrition programs. In 2013, that number jumped 111% to almost $80 billion. Should this be the case?
It shouldn't be the case, and the argument that we've been in a recession for 5 years is getting a little bit old when it comes to people still being on these entitlement programs. And if one is going to argue that this guy isn't the example of the people abusing the system and that most people are using the system properly, then why is it that when Republicans and conservatives try to cut 1% out of the food stamp budget in order to get rid of that waste, fraud, and abuse, they throw a fit and say that we simply want to starve people, right? And so it's really important to keep in mind that this abuse does go on. There are multiple instances of it, and we try to clean it up, and yet the government is set up in a way that entitles these people to continue abusing.
I think you need to realize.
I want to make this transition one. I really have to do this. I want to turn this here because obviously we're spending a lot more on food programs. Take a look at the proposed budget going forward. Look what's going on. We're actually talking about cutting the military budget by almost $80 billion from 2010 to 2014. So, I don't know. Let me start with you, John. Is this the right thing to do? On one hand, we're cutting the military budget. On entitlement and mandatory spending, it's skyrocketing.
Well, I mean, I think the military budget, in my opinion, Eric, is bloated. We could destroy militant Islam with a fraction of our current military budget if we actually had the cojones to do it. That being said, fundamentally, defense is a responsibility of government. Government is force. Defense is what keeps us safe. That's why all these entitlement programs weren't present in the Constitution, have no constitutional bearing, but they've made it in nonetheless. So defense is a proper role of government. Redistribution is not.
All right, so let me do this, Juan. I'm going to throw this to you, and I want to put a picture picture up here of two different people. We're going to take Surfer Boy on one side, and we're going to take a military guy on the other side. Are we now handing over lobster and sushi to Surfer Dude at the expense of the military guys who, by the way, Juan, by the way, they're going to have to pay more for TRICARE, which is the military health care system. They're going to have to pay more for housing, and their pay is being frozen. Is that fair? Is this the America we want?
This is so simplistic as to be laughable. Are you kidding me? Even Jonathan said our military budget is overwhelmingly bloated. We have programs that even the military says they don't want or need. And when it comes to Surfer Dude, everybody says that guy looks like a bum. Well, he shouldn't be encouraging him, but it's also the case that 1 out of every 6 Americans goes to bed hungry, and we shouldn't tolerate that in our society.
Okay, Katie, money
so
is fungible.
Why do you tolerate it?
Hold on, guys. Money is fungible, which means if you're taking from one and giving to another, it's the same dollar.
Right.
Am I taking a cheap shot at Surfer Dude, or is this? These are the numbers, Katie, are they not?
No, it's absolutely valid. And I would say that we should shame people like Surfer Dude. Sure, the government and the system is set up that they can take advantage of it easily, but I think it's the obligation of the civilians not to take advantage of their fellow taxpayer who is footing the bill for that. In terms of military spending, there's bloated budgets in every aspect of the government. That is true. But when it comes down to this idea that we can somehow balance the entitlements off of the backs of the military isn't driving our debt. Long-term entitlement programs are. And again, going back to that, whenever we try to reform those entitlement programs, everyone throws a fit and we can't get anywhere because people say that we just want people to starve and people are going to go to bed hungry.
Poverty levels are not going down. We were spending in the year 2000, $17 billion. Now it's at $80 billion, and we're not seeing any results at all. Why not implement programs that lift people out of poverty? All of these programs do is just make people feel more comfortable living in poverty. We need better policies.
Go ahead. Let me get Juan.
Let me just say, Juan continues to say, well, they're needy, they're needy, they're needy. It doesn't matter. Need is not a standard of value. Juan, if you want to help people in need, help them. It happens all the time. But government is not a charity, and you can't use force to alleviate what you see as societal ills.
Go ahead, Juan.
It's not a matter of force. Again, we are a society. We are America. And the idea that you guys want to demonize the poor, that you want to push them to the curb, why do these people who are hungry bother our conscience? I think that's a shame. You should understand, and you've all said it, the military is bloated in this country, and it is a driver of our deficit. It is a huge driver.
You're lighting a fire in a crowded movie theater right now. Maybe there's ways to cut back on certain areas of the military, but however, on the backs, Katie, we got to go. But the thought of a military man having to pay more for his health care while we're bending over backwards to make sure Pajama Boy gets his free Obamacare, this is insanity.
It's insanity, it's asinine, it's a disgrace, and we should be treating our military better, and we should probably keep that in mind when people like President Obama claim to be caring about the military while they balance our budget and fuel our entitlement programs in the system off of the backs of our military personnel.
We're going to have to leave it right there. Thank you very much.